It's week 17 of the NHL season, and that meant it's All-Star week in Toronto. Some people cared, and some people very much didn't. Either way, a lot has happened for NHL hockey, so let's cover all of it in this video. Now, it's no secret, a lot of people don't care about the NHL All-Star Game, especially with what we've had to go through over the last few years, but the NHL knew that they had to make a big overhaul to the traditional break. After what may have been the worst NHL All-Star Game last season, the NHL went back to the drawing board and revamped some elements to try and get both the players and the fans to care just a tiny bit more. That meant the return of the player draft that was made infamous by my boy Phil Kessel and Alex Ovechkin. Unfortunately, the three-time Stanley Cup champ and the Russian machine didn't make it to the NHL All-Star Game, so we got Justin Bieber, Tate McRae, Will Arnett, and Michael Bublé. Team Hughes and Bublé got the first pick in the NHL All-Star draft, and they selected Nikita Kucherov, who I'm sure was ready to lay it all on the line and try his absolute hardest for Team Hughes to win the $1 million prize. The player draft was mostly filled with some awkward hot mics and basically the Leafs and the Canucks picking all their own guys in the draft, but it still beats whatever the hell we got last year. Nathan MacKinnon picked his buddy in Sidney Crosby, who couldn't make it to the player draft, so they sent the other Sid the Kid to go up and get his jersey. Now, for no one caring about the All-Star Game, some people apparently cared that Crosby couldn't make it to the player draft, as he was apparently found in an outdoor rink in Montana while the player draft was going on. Some people felt that wasn't too classy of Sid, but listen, when you win 3 cups, 2 gold medals, countless individual awards, and are still able to dominate at 36 years old, you can pretty much do whatever the hell you want. After the player draft ended, the most entertaining part of the night was the Michael Bublé press conference, where he admitted that his friend slightly messed up on his shroom prescription for the All-Star Game. Which, I get it. Sometimes you just need a little bit of a buzz to get through things that are quite painful. I am a Leaf fan, so I would know. Now, during this whole event, actually some really exciting news dropped for hockey fans when Commissioner Gary Bettman announced that the NHL players would be allowed to compete at the 2026 Winter Games in Italy. Additionally, the NHL also announced a 4-team international tournament for 2025 that will include Canada, the United States, Sweden, and Finland. Finally, NHL fans get to see best on best hockey. Now that of course raises the debate of, is it truly a best on best when Russia isn't going to be there? But Nikita Kucherov obviously doesn't think so, and I honestly tend to agree. There's obvious reasons why Russia isn't participating, but it's hard to say it's a true best on best when right now the leading point scorer in the entire league is Russian. Either way, I still think it's fantastic that we finally get some version of it. Hopefully there's a solution that works for everyone, but in the meantime, I'm still very excited to get back Olympic hockey. Getting back to the All-Star weekend, the skills competition thankfully went back to superstars actually showcasing their skills. Last year, we got a whole bunch of watered-down SNL skits instead of an actual skills competition. The NHL consulted Connor McDavid to put this together, so there was the usual hardest shot, fastest skater, and accuracy challenges, and whoever had the most points at the end won a $1 million prize. Now, that cash incentive was a good enough reason for most of these guys to care, but for Nikita Kucherov, it didn't look like he needed the money at all, as he put in the all-time who gives a shit performance in both the passing and stick handling challenge. The fans made it known how they felt booing Kucherov, and of course, everyone took to Twitter to absolutely roast the guy, but the funny thing is that if you watch Kucherov, even when he's dominating the league, it still doesn't even look like he's trying. On the other hand, Connor McJesus put on an absolute show, winning 4 different competitions, and after basically planning the entire skills competition, he takes home the $1 million cash prize. The games itself took place on Saturday, and game 1 between MacKinnon and McDavid saw MacKinnon score this disgusting backhand chip goal to make it 3-1. Absolutely filth. Go wash your hands, please. Of course, defense doesn't exist in the All-Star game, so they would blow that 3-1 lead in the last minute with a late McDavid goal, and then Team McDavid would win it in a shootout to advance to the finals. Game 2 would see Team Matthews versus Team Hughes. Forsberg pots a hat-trick. Kucherov continues to show how good he is, even when he's not trying, but ultimately, Team Matthews took this one to set up a Matthews versus McDavid final. Now, in case you probably could have predicted with this All-Star game taking place in Toronto, the fix was in for Team Matthews as they got the better of Team McDavid in the finals to win the $1 million prize. The All-Star game may not matter, but considering Team Matthews won the tournament, the Stanley Cup parade has to still be on and ready to go for late June. Thankfully though, we jump right back into the best part of the season where everything gets way more intense and the games actually begin to matter. Now before NHL All-Star Weekend, there was some big storylines around the NHL that got lost in the noise. At the beginning of the week, it was announced that Adam Fantilli would be out 8 weeks after he got his leg cut with a skate. That means the top 3 picks from last year's draft in Bedard, Carlson, and Fantilli have all dealt with injury problems in their rookie season. Now before McDavid rigged the skills competition for him to take home the $1 million cash prize, he told the media that he's been there and done that when it comes to the scoring race. That might not seem like a big deal, but it's actually a big reason why the Edmonton Oilers are having a lot of success. The top players have bought into a more defensive mindset, and the entire team is following. Considering that McDavid has shown that he can pretty much outscore anyone at a ridiculous pace and won every individual award, he has nothing left to prove other than winning a cup, and that may require some sacrifice on the offensive side of the puck. The Oilers have a chance to tie the consecutive win record this week with a win over the Vegas Golden Knights. We've got a deep dive on the Oilers coming to the channel soon, so make sure you keep an eye out on that this week. The LA Kings are looking to catch some of the magic that the Oilers had when they fired their head coach, as they announced during the All-Star Madness that they had fired coach Todd McLellan. I was a bit surprised by this news, considering that I didn't see McLellan as the main issue for the Kings, but then again, when you're on a slide that the Kings are on, making a coaching switch is the easiest change to make, even if it's not the right one. How about Derek Lalonde here calling Stützle a diver on this play? Tim Stützle is certainly getting a reputation for that, and Lalonde is making it known. The Sens won this match, and Tkachuk says it's time to show who the Sens really are. I'm certainly glad they waited until the All-Star break to show that, because they're going to need to have a ridiculous second half to even be considered in the playoff conversation. There was some more tough injury news when we found out that Philip Hedl of the Rangers is out for the remainder of the season with a concussion. Hate seeing that after he's already dealt with concussion issues and got another one in practice to shut his season down. Patrick Laine also checked into the player assistance program. There's a lot of players doing this right now, and that could be slightly concerning for both the players and the league. Hopefully, Laine gets the help he needs and is able to come back and find his game. A relatively big trade happened this week as well, as the Habs traded Sean Monahan to the Winnipeg Jets for a first and third round pick. A lot of people are saying this is an overpayment, and it probably is, but if the Winnipeg Jets are truly contenders and Sean Monahan continues to play the level that he's playing at, I think this is a solid deal that can help Winnipeg down the middle come playoff time. Now, let us know what you thought about the NHL All-Star Game this year. And what do you think about the NHL returning to the Olympics and best on best hockey? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you want to see any of our deeper dives from this season, click on any of the videos here and subscribe to the channel.